Hello. Welcome, everyone. February's PeriClinic. And Emily's letting me take the reins on this one, which will become apparent in a sec. Welcome, everybody. This month, we wanted to have a bit of a think and a chat about love. What's love got to do with it was the theme that we put in place because it takes so many forms. So that's kind of a broad brush of what we wanted to talk about in this month. And again, who knows where we're going to end up, because we never actually know where we're going to end up. We might stay on track, we might go off on a hen or goat related tangent. I can't tell you that. But before we do, should we just go round and say hi to everybody and do a quick intro? Emily, I think you should go first.
Okay. It's so weird being on the sort of panel side of this rather than running it. So I am Emily. I run the Perimenopause Hub. Um, I also am in the process of putting together a course called The Beginner's Guide to Perimenopause, which will be coming out soon. And big new news, I'm soon going to start taking on one or two menopause coaching clients myself, which I haven't had the space in my diary to do until now.
That is fabulous. I'm loving that for you. I'm so excited. You know this anyway. Thank you so much, Nikki.
Well,
Come and
hello
say hi.
everyone. I'm Nikki Leary. I am a nutritional therapy practitioner. I'm a Reiki master and an herbalist, and I grow tea on my farm in central Wisconsin, which is using medicinal quality herbs that help make you feel better. Um, and I am really excited about this topic. I've been married for 15 years. I have two boys who are 10 and 13. Um, and I think just love all around. So I'm super excited to dig into the topic.
Lovely. Thank you. And Molly, come and say hi.
Awesome. Hey everyone, Molly here. I'm a menopause coach. I'm here in Minnesota, and prior to that, have an extensive online business background. So my specialty is now merging for midlife women, women who are struggling with perimenopausal symptoms that are looking at maybe shifting their careers or starting their own, avenue that they can find more purpose for their second chapter of life and just guiding them through that process. And I too, just like Emily, am opening up soon. It's not going to be until probably mid-March that I'm going to be taking on some private clients. And right now I have a course that's called The Art of the Midlife Pivot that's helping midlife women move into their next chapter with more intention and purpose. So excited for this topic today.
Perfect. We're also aligned. For anybody who has never seen one of these before and doesn't know, just a really quick intro. I'm Jo. I co-pilot the hub with Emily. I'm also a psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, and mindfulness teacher, and I help women who are really struggling with anxiety, brain fog, hot flushes, overthinking, insomnia. That's kind of my bag in terms of perimenopause world. And yeah, I see women one to one, and I'm launching very soon a couple of short courses, mini courses that you can binge in 20 minutes or an hour to kind of just get people thinking about dissolving that anxiety in a really quick and easy way. So that's a little bit about me. I live in the UK, got two crazy dogs and an even crazier partner. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. So today then, what I thought we'd do is usual format. We'll kind of go round based on different aspects of questions that crop up. And I suppose when we were designing this little segment for today, we were thinking about, first of all, what does love means such a diverse range of things to different people. And I guess the reason we're talking about love is because the spectre of Valentine's is in a lot of people's minds right now. And I wanted to come at it from a slightly different approach, a slightly different angle. So I just kind of want to open it up broadly to each of you in turn and just kind of thinking about, when you think of the word love, what does it actually mean to you? What initially pops up in your mind? Who wants to go first? I don't mind. We'll just chip in. There's four of us, which is lovely.
Happy to jump in.
Yeah, love to.
To me, love means safety and being able to be yourself, your complete self. No masks, no pretense, just you show up as yourself. That to me is, that's it.
Perfect. Oh, I love that. Thank you. That's brilliant. Molly, how are
Yeah,
things for you? What do you think? I could
I
see
was literally going to say the same thing. That's the first word that came into my mind is when you feel emotionally safe. You feel like what you say matters, your value matters, just your existence, and you're worth taking up space in whatever environment that you're in, and you feel comfortable with who you are. So,
yeah, I love that. And Nikki, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with those. I think about it, I really just like, I immediately go to like heart chakra and like the feeling of love. Um, that it's really love for all things. And people think about, oh, I love these things, but it's love to me is so much more about receiving because it's like a cycle. It's receiving love and loving other things. And it's like it's got to be a doorway that's open for both. Um, and that's something I think about love. It's the capability of love and receiving too.
Lovely. Really good. Really good point there, actually, because sometimes we're not very good at receiving love. I think we're naturally good at giving it out, aren't we? And so I think that when we go into perimenopause and menopause, the whole world of love and all its connotations gets really kind of twisted, skewed. We look at things very differently. Because we feel so differently about ourselves as women, as humans on this planet as well, that love can often get kind of a bit gnarly and a bit of a difficult thing to navigate. So for me, I think love, this is going to sound really bizarre. Love to me feels like life. It feels like warm energy. It feels like the difference between wanting to give and feeling that we have to give. And that differentiation between love and attachment has been a massive thing for me going through my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, and into my 50s. So I think in my earlier days, I massively I confused love with attachment in my early days. And I think that's developed so much more as I've got older, that I now feel very differently about love. And I mean love in the broadest sense, love for people, love for animals, love for myself, love for, everything, love of everything that goes on in my life. It just feels like a very different texture, a very different flavour now. So, one of the things that I thought might be useful for us to address this month, particularly for so many of our amazing women in the group who really, really struggle with perimenopause and relationships, in terms of what they believed to be true about their relationship, the love they had in that relationship, the love that they felt in their lives generally. What happens to that in perimenopause? I thought it might be good to open it up and share some, maybe experiences of clients that we've been working with or our own experiences around some of the things that we've noticed happen or tend to happen during perimenopause when it comes to love. So let's just open it up. Who fancies having a bit of an insight about what goes on for them or their clients? Nikki?
I can jump in on that one because
Yeah.
it comes up, even in nutrition or, especially in my Reiki work, relationships come up a lot. And at this stage, the issues can be a lot of different things, right? It can be what your perception has shifted. So your partner might do something that rubs you differently than it ever did before. It's not that they changed, it's that you maybe changed, right? In your perception of it. But what changes so much, or what just becomes like this big inflammation issue for so many of my clients, is how they feel about themselves, right? Like when your body feels like it's going to crap, you're not sleeping, that will throw your blood sugar off. That's going to throw your mood off. That's going to throw how you feel about your body. It's going to impact your willingness and desire to have sex with your partner. Your ability to receive pleasure is all going to be tied into that. So when it comes down to body image, I think that is a main thing that I'm seeing with women is they just don't feel good. They don't feel good in their skin. Their hormones feel like they're everywhere, and they don't feel like they're in control. Um, that's the number one thing I like to work with women on is like you are actually in control. It feels like your body is, fighting with you, but it's actually just talking to you. Like it's yelling. It's because we didn't listen in the first couple times, and now it's screaming. But it's just trying to tell you it needs something. It's not like, oh my gosh, everything is over for you. Everything can be fixed. We're made to heal. Like if you scratch yourself, it heals over whether you put Neosporin on it or not. Like your body's designed to heal. So why wouldn't it heal these other things? But to me, that's what I see a lot. It's the whole thing of how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you don't love yourself, which I understand, you don't feel great, it's hard to then love others. And that then bleeds into your relationship with your partners and coworkers and kids and everyone else too.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, thanks, Nikki. That's brilliant. That's just a wonderful encapsulation of what happens. That's fabulous. Yeah, yeah. Emily, what do you notice? Maybe not, whether it's your own personal share or whether it's people that you're working with or around you.
So I'm going to make two observations, I think. So one observation is something that I see in the Hub Facebook group a lot, which is people feeling that because their libido has dropped off a cliff or they are sore or whatever, they don't want to be having sex with their partner. And there seems to be a sense of that making them less than in some way. And that actually breaks my heart because to me, as I said earlier, love is safety. And feeling pressured to have sex, that is not safety in my world at all. So, and I totally get that people can be on a different page here, and that's incredibly difficult. But I think if you were to say an analogy, because I love an analogy, like if your partner loves spaghetti bolognese and you're really not that keen on it, but they insist that you have spaghetti bolognese every night, at some point you're going to have to say, look, dude, seriously, this is not cool. I really just want like a pizza. And somehow societally we've kind of been told we're not allowed to have that conversation around sex, if that makes sense. So for me, love is safety. And if you are feeling pressured in any way, then that's getting outside of the safety thing. The other point I wanted to make is exactly what Nikki was saying about self-love. And where I come at this from is the looking in the mirror and not hating yourself aspect of that. Of, oh my God, my body's changed shape. Oh my God, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm all these horrible things we say to ourselves. And learning to find a way past that. And I'm not saying needing to go all the way to like, loving your, being outside in a bikini all day long every day. I'm not saying we need to get to that, but just to the point of going, this body is the skin suit that is carrying my awesomeness through this life. And what shape it is doesn't really matter because I can still hug people. I can still laugh with people. I still have the basic moral code I've always had. And actually the changing shape of my body isn't the be all and end all. And I would love to get that message through to every single person in the Peri Hub.
I completely agree with that. I think that's one of the things that breaks my heart the most is, and I include myself in this demographic for a good long number of years, that we've attached so much of our self-worth and deservingness of love to our outward appearance, the way we look and the size we are, the shape we are, the number on the scale, all of those things. We've attached it so much, so it's so embedded societally, culturally, in how we self-reflect about whether we're worthy and deserving of love from ourselves and from other people. And I think if that's the one key message that I want women to hear right now today, is that we're best served by unpinning that self-worth from the stuff that we have very little control over in terms of things like aging and change. We've been changing since the day we were born. So that would be my one heart message, since we're talking about love right now, to send out that love message to every single woman on this planet, that we've got to, and this is one of the biggest things I do with women, is unpin that perception of self-worth that is linked so heavily to our size and weight and outward physical appearance. So yeah, I totally agree with you there. Absolutely. Molly, how is it from your perspective? What's your thought on this?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you shared about, one of the things that I realized is when I was started going through perimenopause, like there was almost this deconstruction or like this breakdown that I experienced both hormonally and physically because I had experienced an injury in my back that led to 7 herniated discs. And throughout that period of learning how to heal, it's almost like I was going through life prior to that kind of subconsciously. And when you have something force you to slow down and start listening to your body, like Nikki was saying, I probably could have used her during that time to just start to learn, okay, my body is telling me things here, and I actually need to start listening to, and I, looking back, I think that, and this might sound a little woo-woo, but I think that a lot of what led to my injury was suppressed emotion or not fully loving myself through those other periods of my life, and just keep on keeping on and just pushing through and relying on willpower and adrenaline and all of that. And it was kind of my come to Jesus moment where it was like, okay, you can't do things moving forward the same way that you've been doing them up to this point. And now it's time to really look at that. And for me, that looked like stepping away completely from everything that I was doing, focusing solely on listening to my body, healing. And that took sacrifices, right? To do that, took myself off social media, like the whole thing. And through that process, I really learned like everything that you're saying, like loving myself. And like not too long ago, I had, I felt like I was getting another herniated disc from something super simple, just like bending down and putting a dish away. And I felt that feeling, and I immediately stopped in that moment, went into my bedroom, laid down, and like just sent love to myself. And I was like, I love you fully for everything that you are in this moment. And I wouldn't have done that before, right? I would have just kept pushing on, and probably getting injured. So that's one aspect. And then, I've been with my husband since we were 14. So we
Wow.
have gone through many evolutions in regards to, our love and like what that looks like. And for me, perimenopause has almost been a gift because it's allowed me to like allow things to kind of bubble to the surface. And sometimes you're like, I don't like what I'm seeing right now within myself or, the relationship, whatever. But the empowering part is that I think with that deconstruction or those hormones, reconfiguring, it gives you almost an empowerment to start asking and being vocal about the things that you want moving forward and like really stepping into your power in that relationship and saying, okay, this might have been what I was okay with before, but this is how I see things moving forward. And that's been really great for me because I know then I'm not suppressing emotions or being, the nice peace giver or whatever, and actually saying what I mean and meaning what I say. So that has been a huge adjustment because I think in the beginning, when you start setting boundaries or you start saying the things that you want to say, you can feel a little uncomfortable because it's like, well, this is new. You kind of catch yourself off guard. And then you're like, dang, I feel really good that I'm staying true to who I am in this moment and how I want to hold myself moving into this second chapter of my life. So that's been kind of my truth through the love journey.
Yeah, that feels like you've had a real kind of life audit, that pivotal life audit of
Yes.
how do I, what matters to me now? Who am I now? How do I love
Mhm.
myself through this transition? And that was huge. But also, what you did there, without turning this into a therapy session, I'm so sorry, is as soon as you felt that familiar twinge happen again, you immediately were able to bring that back in really brilliantly to say, okay, I know what I need to do here, and I love myself enough to do that for myself right now. And that's
Yeah.
powerful. That's huge.
And I think that's like what people call the midlife crisis, where, it's that breakdown piece.
Yeah.
But really, if you start feeling all of the things that are coming up and move through them and be able to transcend them, then there's beauty on the other side of it. And it doesn't look like a crisis anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I love
That
that.
was, yeah.
That's amazing. I'm going to bring in Leslie. We've got one of our other lovely experts who's joined us. Leslie, do you want to come say hi a minute and quickly introduce yourself, and then I'll quickly bring you up to speed. Come on in and
Yeah,
say hi.
sure. So I am Leslie. Yep. I am Leslie Urbis. My internet might be a little slow, so let me know. But I'm Leslie Urbis. I'm a registered dietitian, a personal trainer, and a nervous system expert. And I help women start to feel like themselves again, starting through their body, really. Yeah.
I love that.
It in a
Thank you.
nutshell. Simple.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Leslie, we've just been talking about love. So this month, PeriClinic is all about love, and rather than it just being about love in the strictest kind of narrow sense of love in a relationship, we're talking about what does love actually mean to us as people. So I might put you on the spot in a second and ask you what love means for you. And we just got into a little bit around what happens then with love in perimenopause. What happens to our relationships? What do we learn about kind of what does it take to love ourselves just that little bit differently as we go through this transition? So, if you don't mind, are you okay if I just put you on the spot for a sec and just say, when you think about love, what does that conjure up for you?
Every time somebody asks me that question, I always think in like every other language but English, there's like 18,000 ways to say love, right? But we use love like I love pizza in the same way that's like I love my child. And that just doesn't go together, right? Pizza to love. But I would really say that to me, what love is it's a love is kind of like a stripping away of everything that we identify with, right? And so I think that that's really to me and in my journey, love has been okay, am I actually, I want to phrase it like this. I had a coach one day that said, today and today only, I want you to write down everything you do. From the moment you get out of bed, why did you get out of bed? It's what did I do and why did I do it? Why did you brush your teeth? Okay, great. Why'd you brush your teeth? Right? And he was like, at the end of the day, you will figure out why you do most of the things you do. And we view some of that as love, but sometimes it's not, right? It's the opposite of love. So that was like the activity that really drew me to like, wow, I think I'm doing this out of love, but I'm actually doing this out of torture, right? I'm doing this out of pain. I'm doing this because I feel like I have to. And so I feel like love is the stripping away of everything, right? It is unconditional. It just is. It exists. It's us. It's self. It's, our higher power. It's everything. It is the thing that makes the world go round. Just like the cheesy Love Actually movie, which kind of mocks Americans, but it's a great movie. Love makes the world go round. Like it just does.
I
So,
love that. It is so true. I genuinely believe that is true. It is, I said earlier to the ladies in the group, I feel like it is energy. It's the thing. It's the lubricant of life, isn't it? It's the thing that makes it all worth something, I think. Thank you for that. That's absolutely brilliant. When we've just been talking briefly about what happens during this process then of perimenopause, do we think that rocks that foundation of love in terms of what do you notice in the people that you work with, the clients that you see, the conversations that you hear that kind of skews that view of love as we go through perimenopause?
is that just for me or for
Yeah, yeah.
everybody?
Leslie, please. Sorry, I forgot to say. Yeah.
Okay, cool. To me, it has been, and I'm going to go to one of the first clients I ever had. It was like she was 46, I want to say maybe 47 when she started working with me. And she came to me and I was like, so why are we on this call? And she said, because I was going to go back on a diet that I went on when I was 16 years old. And I realized I'm in the wrong boat. Like that doesn't sound rational. And to me, it feels like when we're in midlife or peri or anything, we wind up in this conundrum of like, why, like I said earlier, like why am I doing this? What is it for? Right? Or what is, and with with this, I think it becomes like, okay, I've been doing this, right? This thing has worked, right? For my whole life. Like in my world as a dietitian, many people would be like, I used to cut out soda and I lose 3 pounds in a week. And then it was like, I just cut out alcohol for 3 days and I lose 3 pounds in a week, right? So they'd always be able to finagle this little bit of whatever. And then all of a sudden, the finagle didn't work anymore, right? And now they're like reaching for everything they possibly can. And at some point, there's that like wake up. And I think back to like the hydroxy cut days and all those pills and stuff like that. Maybe one day it'll be GLP-1 or whatever. When somebody goes to pick it up and they're like, why am I doing this? Right. I think that that's really what happens in perimenopause is that it's no longer like we lose because we're losing our hormones, because our hormones are shifting, we lose that ability to be like, well, I'm doing this to be pretty and like whatever. And like, this is what I'm taught to do. It's like all of a sudden we're staring at something and we're like, wait, what? Or we're looking at ourselves and we're like, wait, what? Right? It's just that moment of like, maybe I don't want to do this. Do I have a choice here? And it might even be like our claiming into, I'm reading a book, I think it's called Women's Bodies, Women's Minds by Christine Northrup. And, she spoke about that, like, people wake up at different points in their life. And typically, your first wake up is when you wake up at 18 or 19 and you're in college, right? And you wake up again when you are a parent. And then I think we wake up again when we're like, oh, wait, my whole body is now changing. And this thing that I lived in and understood is now like a jungle of its own doing what it wants. And now I'm hearing people are telling me it's communicating to me, okay, wait, what? Right. And that's where I think that it goes down to is just this whole, we're staring at something and we're just like, I don't know, like the movie where they all have that click and it just
Yeah.
clicks for us.
It's like that epiphany moment, isn't it? The light bulb comes on. I love that. Thanks,
Yeah.
Leslie. I realise I put you on the spot there. I'm really grateful to you for stepping up
No
and
worries.
doing that so brilliantly because I kind of feel you're up to speed. Well done. So, what do we think then collectively we need to be focusing on in order to be able to just maybe crank up that level of I'm good enough to love myself through this? And how can we just elevate? I'm not talking about huge things here because we know that it's all baby steps. We know it's do one thing, just start with one tiny thing. What do we each think that we need to start looking at then in February? Why not? Because this, we're near the start of the month, coming towards the middle of it. We've still got time in February to implement one tiny thing that's going to help to crank our worthiness and our love up a notch. So, what do you think is the most important thing for us to start focusing on? I'm going to start with Nikki, I think.
Okay. So I'm going to give a small thing, but it's actually a big shift that it would make. Okay. So I think what we should start doing, and with everyone talking, Molly and what Leslie was saying, and with Emily, we're bringing up intimacy, right? We're bringing up that's really the definition of intimacy. I think is like willingness to explore me and feeling safe enough to explore me while you explore you, right? It has nothing to do with you and a partner or another relationship. It's everything to do with just you, right? And your willingness to provide that safe environment for others too. Um, but I see coming up in a lot of my clients, and it's what Leslie was saying, like that, epiphany moment is that you realize that you're running an old pattern or an old program that doesn't serve you anymore, right? You were programmed since you were a child. Not, nothing that you could do. Everyone has had it from your family, from your schooling, from your neighbors, your friends, from the media. Everything has programmed you with different beliefs. And what happens is all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, that belief that I kind of like have to hate myself or that I have to like, the big one, you have to force yourself to do it. You got to like strong or like drag the leash kind of thing. Like if you've been using the stick instead of the carrot on yourself for your entire life, you can probably date that back to when you're in elementary school and you had to study for that test and you forced yourself to stay up all night or to not go out with friends or however you punished yourself, right? You're continuing that pattern now. It's just not going to serve you anymore for you to get to your goal. It's now that obstacle as opposed to that safe program that you were running. So the small shift to fix that is, what if you just thought every time you get mad at yourself or something, what if you just thought that your body was on your team. Like, not like, oh, why are you bloated right now? Like, I don't know. Ask, like, can I help you? How can I think of it as a 6-year-old child as opposed to, the angry person in the car, like their road rage issue. Um, just be kind, like show love and kindness to yourself in every way. When you look in the mirror and you're like, ugh, I have a stomach. No, no. What if your body is actually on your team? Would you talk to your teammate like that? Is that how you talk to your partner or your best friend? Like talk to yourself the way you want to talk to others. So that's the small shift, but the big picture is it's starting to push you out of that pattern into a pattern that serves you better, and that's the ultimate goal.
I
So
love that. I think we could just stop it there because Nikki's just basically
Yeah.
nailed it for all of us. Now, I'm only kidding. We'll come to everybody else, but I love that. It's so, so important, and it's everything. That self-talk is everything, isn't it? So recognizing that pattern, love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you. Molly, how is it for you? What do you think we need to be focusing on to just make that small shift?
Yeah, I think starting small, at least for me, when my back had gone out and I was healing, I needed to land on one habit. So if you think of like that one habit, and many, many times it's the habit that you're avoiding to start creating, right? So I teach my clients about how to choose a catalyst habit. Like, what is that one thing? Like, if I do this one thing every day, it's going to create a ripple effect to the rest of my day. Whether that is, having a regular sleep schedule, maybe it's meditating, maybe it's, for me, it was walking because in the beginning I wasn't able to work out because my back, but I'm like, okay, I know I can walk. And so I just started developing this habit of like, I'm going to walk every day. I'm going to give that to myself. And when I did that, I started to, gain that self-trust because when we follow through on something, even if it's small, we're building trust in ourselves and we're honoring ourselves and we're saying, okay, you're worthy of this hour that you're giving yourself. You're loving yourself through this right now. And from there, you can build and habit stack as your confidence grows and as you know, continue to actually enjoy that time. Like that is like my sacred thing. Like I know that I'm gonna have a good day and my whole family knows it too. If mom moves her body, at least 30 minutes. I give myself like that's what I have set up like on my watch. That's my minimum, right? And I don't put these crazy workout goals in place. It's like I'm gonna get that 30 minutes of walking in. And then we'll see how I feel after that. I'm going to listen to my body. Maybe it's the yoga after that. Maybe it's strength training. Whatever that looks like, I'm listening to my body. And that is my way of, you know, honoring my body first and giving to myself first so that you can give to others when when your cup is full.
I love that. And that kind of that self-trust is the thing that gets eroded, I think, so quickly when we first go into perimenopause. It's just the thing that it just vanishes. We feel like we're being betrayed by our minds, by our bodies, by everything that we thought we knew, everything we thought we had nailed down. And I love the fact that you are putting your needs at very least level with everybody else's, because that's one of the things that I see that women generally don't do, is that kind of, I'm not going to get into kind of women guilt, but this is a whole other PeriClinic in terms of why we don't put our needs first. So thank you for that. I love it. I love that. Emily, what about you? What do you think is kind of a brilliant area for us to focus on in terms of loving ourselves just that little bit harder in February?
So I actually wrote this down before you asked that question, and it
Oh,
just tied in
amazing.
really nicely. So I'll just backtrack with the fact, Molly said her back went, and that was kind of her catalyst for changing. For me, it was having spent forever chasing every diet and hating the body I was in and thinking that I was the wrong shape, the wrong size, not valid, not worthy, all the things. When that then got kind of so far out of my control that it was a question of never eat again or learn to find another way, I started to become very acutely aware of how much society, people at large, compliment on people's physical shape,
Right.
and how utterly damaging that can be to an awful lot of people for any number of reasons.
Yeah.
And I started just looking into, actually, how do we switch the compliment? Because paying people a compliment is a lovely thing to do and it's a lovely thing to receive. And how do we switch that to paying that compliment to something that is within that person's control? Because the shape of somebody's body is not in their control in that moment. But what the clothes they've put on, how they've styled their hair, the glasses they've chosen, those are things they have actively chosen. So I now will only ever compliment on something that somebody has actively chosen that day. I was walking down the road this a couple of years ago, and there was this lady, she must have been in her 70s, and she was wearing the most fabulous trousers that had elephants all over them. Now, I love elephants. So I just walked past and I went, oh my God, I love your trousers. And she squealed like a teenager. Like it was the first time she'd ever heard a compliment. She was so happy. And I was like, oh wow. So compliments have a bit of an effect. And actually, once you start giving compliments, you start seeing how lovely they are. And then you start seeing that you're worthy of receiving compliments as well. And if it's that whole thing of what you put out is what you get back normally. So if you tend to only compliment on things that people have chosen, then you tend to get those same compliments back. And in that, I've found a sense of self and a sense of worth that I never thought would have come from something so simple. But it means I now dress in a way that is simply me. It's just me. So today, dungarees with pugs dressed as bugs.
Pugs and
because,
bugs.
why not? And if somebody compliments me on that, I am able to look, it's pugs, they're dressed as bugs. Thank you very much. Now we've then had a lovely interaction. Everybody's very happy. Nobody's commented on my body shape or my size, anything out of my control. It's all been a conversation about stuff within my control. And those are the conversations that I am here for.
Amazing. Has it changed? I hope you don't mind me asking you this. Has
No.
it changed the kind of unconscious compliments that you are now giving yourself as a result
Yes.
of that as well? Because it feels like it would do that.
Yeah, and it does. And I've seen it with other people, trying the same sort of thing. And actually, once you take, it just puts the control back in your hands, because you're like, actually, I'm only complimenting something that person has chosen that thing. Therefore, I'm putting a compliment firmly at their feet.
Yes.
I'm not saying, oh, look at you, you've lost weight. And actually they might be going through some horrific cancer journey and you don't know that. And that's not something to be complimenting. So yeah, it's kind of a really nice way to just big people up, and you're actively reinforcing their life choices.
Yeah. And I think that then helps us feel, ultimately, I guess the aim that we're all hoping for is that we feel better about ourselves, and in return, as an extension of that, better about other people around us as well. And you're absolutely right. One of the biggest things I work on with women that transforms their lives is when we get our head around the fact that the way we look is the least interesting bit of information about us. And that mindset shift might sound impossible when we're going through perimenopause and we've got neurological changes, physiological changes, everything going on all at once. But the truth is we're kind of all getting to, we're just wandering around in a meat suit. And as soon as we start to realise that actually the way that everybody else perceives that meat suit is irrelevant, we start to kind of go, do you know what, there's much more to me than this. And I think it begins to change everything. So for my 2 penny worth there, I think it's cultivating that mind shift that what we physically look like, if you zoom out on the world, you get to the top of a really tall building and all you're going to see is just tiny little figures wandering around. And it's only when we really zoom in that we see differences anyway. And we zoom in on ourselves much more close granular detail than we do on anybody else. So I guess my one bit of let's step up and focus on is zoom out, because when you really zoom out, we're just creatures wandering around the earth.
And also, I think because I'm sure we have all done this, you look at one of your friends and you go, oh, that's interesting. Just like in summertime when everyone's in like sort of little tops and whatever, and you might sometimes just kind of quietly observe, oh, I hadn't noticed that so and so has a bit of cellulite on her legs, because why would I?
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, I've known that person for 40 years and I've never noticed that. So clearly, I can probably step away from worrying about it on myself.
Absolutely. This is it. And nobody notices the things about ourselves than us that we notice about ourselves. Very inarticulately there. But we're our own worst critic. We have, telescopic level focus zoomed in on ourselves and our perceived flaws and everything that's going wrong, and we're hardwired to notice change and catastrophe because it impacts our survival. So yeah, absolutely. Zoom out is my big tip. Leslie, what do you think is our one thing that would really help us to just elevate loving ourselves just that little bit harder?
Yeah, and it could be my internet again, so if I go out, just apologize. I would say choose again. So as a queen of self-punishing, self-deprecating, terrible thoughts of just everything, and just realizing like, wow, I'm still punishing myself for that thing I probably did at 7 or at 6 or at 5 or at 4, and I'm just punishing myself in a new way. It's choose again, right? So in the moment that you realize it, it's choose again. I accept the thought I have just thunk, but I choose to think something different and choose to change. Because I love everything that you said, but I remember at one point everything being, complicated, right? Super easy for that person to say, they're already there, right? But choose again always felt like something that I could do, that I couldn't cop out, right? I could be like, okay, well, I can choose again and I can choose again. And sometimes it would be choosing again 52 times in a 60-second period. But that's what I would say. Choose again. And then choose every one of these tips and go do it. But we're good at punishing ourselves, right? Well, I already messed up today. I didn't take my walk. So I'll just chuck today in the bucket, and then I'll, go to the mirror and tell myself 90, 80 things that are completely wrong with me that like, it's just like, we go down that road instead of just like, or I could choose again. Like, okay, I didn't get the walk in, but it's actually only 9:30 in the morning and I probably could get a walk in a little later, right?
Yeah.
But as the queen of like, oh, I just effed that one up, choose again.
It's so good and it's so true. I love that, because you're right. It doesn't take much, does it, to knock us off our perch? And as soon as we feel like we've kind of messed up somewhere, we're just ready to flip the table on the whole day and just go, oh, that's it. There we go. Whole day's ruined.
Right?
We make a joke out of it now. When something kind of kicks off in our household, we literally say to each other, oh, well, there we are. Whole day's ruined, and make a joke out of it, because we have to do that. We've got to gently widen out the ridiculousness of how we overcomplicate everything and beat ourselves up so brilliantly in the process that we can probably maybe ease off just a bit. So I love that.
Just even if somebody compliments you wrong, right? Like, I couldn't even recognize you. And you're like, oh, they're thinking I
There
get
we go.
right? Choose again. But that thought can be in your head for like 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Little do you know. So choose again.
Absolutely. I love that so much. Absolutely brilliant. So this is all amazing stuff, by the way. I'm really loving the overarching concept of love and loving ourselves to get through this perimenopause phase of life, because the only way out of this is through, right? So what does it take? This is another kind of question within a question here, nested loops, in case you're wondering. What does it take to love what it takes to get through this? What do we need to really remember about ourselves and who we are that is going to help us get through this perimenopause journey? That's quite a big question, I realise. Let's go to, in fact, who feels ready to kind of jump in on that one? I'm going to let you choose. Emily, go for it.
I was ready to write down so that I wouldn't forget.
I could see your readiness. I could see you kind of like ready to spring into action there. I love it.
So the thing that I think is the most helpful thing for kind of breaking the cycle of the oh God, everything's crap and it's all happening to me, and I'm a passerby in my own life, and how can I possibly get through this and ever find any way back to like love myself? Um, get present,
Ah,
be in the moment. Now that can be get present may seem like a I don't know. I know when I first was sort of told the whole notion of getting present, I'm a bit like, really? Um, I learned about becoming present when I did an animal communication course.
mm,
Um, and the instructor of the course would go, right, okay, we need to get present before we can do any of this communication stuff, because you've got to get your stuff, yourself out of your way to
mm.
be able to tune into the animal. And so it was very much sit there with your eyes closed, feel what you can feel, hear what you can hear, smell what you can smell, taste what you can taste. And all of the stuff, some of it comes back.
Mm.
Okay, that's there. I can feel this. I can smell that. I can hear this. Okay, that's cool. And then you can put your focus onto other things, things away from the self-hatred, the self-deprecation, the bad stuff, by pulling yourself just into the absolute present moment right now. So it might be, some people find that having like a ring on their finger that they can just twiddle just to go, okay, I'm here, I'm now, my feet are on the ground, it's all okay. So that would be my biggest thing for how to get through this. Like you are, we all experience some horrible symptoms, some really bad days. We experience some good days as well. If in the midst of it, you can create that little oasis of calm by just being present for a moment, it just flicks the switch.
Mm-hmm.
You're 100% right. And that in itself is mindfulness in essence. Mindfulness often gets misconstrued as thoughtfulness or kindness or any number of things that are not correct in describing mindfulness. When we come into like what's really true and present and solid here and now, I think that's one of the best antidotes for snipping the loops of thought that we get caught up in. Because our brains are powerful predictor machines and powerful ruminators over everything that's gone wrong in the past. That's what our safety brain is designed to do. And when we deliberately choose to focus on what's actually happening in that moment right now, not 5 minutes' time or when we end this call or whatever, we cannot help but just be present with what is, however it is. And we're not seeking to try and change it. I think one of the biggest traps that we fall into is that we have to constantly be working on or changing something.
Mm-hmm.
And very often when we don't, very often when we just stop, we just kind of what is actually beautifully described by you about what you did, just to bring yourself centered and grounded in that 1 second. This second that we have right now is now gone, and now we're in a new moment that we have right now, and then that's gone. So when we bring ourselves into that, I think that is the most powerful thing we can actually do for ourselves. So thank you, that was amazing. I love the way that you described what you did there. That was amazing. Leslie, I can see that you're ready to say something. You look like you're about to.
Well, I was just thinking The Power of Now. I'm reading the book The Power of Now. It's such a good
Eckhart
book.
Tolle,
Power of
brand.
Now.
Yeah,
Such a good book.
good
Because The
book.
Power of Now literally tells you like, to focus on the now. So I love
Yeah.
that you brought that up. But I was actually like, as soon as you said it, I'm thinking of the All the Way to the River book, where she talks about us accepting we're in Earth school.
Yeah.
We've chosen to be in Earth school. And I think that that is pinnacle for this journey. Choose to understand, for whatever reason, your soul chose to be in Earth school. And so you're here.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, if you've never read All the Way to the River, I'll tell you it's a great book. It is an absolutely fabulous book. You think you're just reading it for fun, and there's so much personal development in there you never knew. But there's a lot in there. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of like, so you got to be ready for the book. But it's such a good book. But I love that. That's my thing. I mean, just every day I choose, I'm like, well, I chose Earth School for a reason today, right? There's a reason why I'm on day like 32 of seeing the sun for only like this amount of time, even though I live in a very sunny place. There's a reason for this, right? I chose this journey and to be here at this moment, right? So I like to just go back to that. I love the thought process of the presence of now, but I think there's times when you're just like, I don't want to be in the now. Okay, well, I accepted Earth School.
There you
Here
go. I love
I am
that.
in Earth School.
Yeah. And that's a beautifully blended approach of acceptance combined with kind of not fatality, but acceptance of why we're here, the bigger kind of wow, that's a whole theological debate going in there, isn't there? Existential debate. But
Yeah, that's why I just like to call it Earth School, right? I
yeah, I
signed
love
up
it.
for Earth School, so I'm here.
Right. My son said this to me last week. He said, Mum, first time at living. And he's absolutely right. Whatever we're going through is our first time at living. So it's really, really true. I love that. Thank you.
I love
Molly,
that your son
what
said
are your
that.
thoughts on this whole kind of what does it take?
Yeah,
What
I
does it
think
take to love what it takes?
I think, well, at least for me, it's come down to just enjoying the journey and not always seeking and reaching for the destination so much, but actually, just like Emily said, like being present in the now and enjoying enjoying the walk, enjoying the little things that light you up and choosing those things. I worked with a coach at one point that was bringing some of this presence idea to play. When you live in kind of this unconscious space for a while, you kind of need to learn how to be present and what that actually means. And she had encouraged me just to like focus on noticing the things that you're choosing. So for me, that might have been I chose this coffee cup. I actually bought it for me. And it says, "You're the friend everyone wishes they had." And I bought it for myself. I'm the friend, like
You're not
those,
wrong.
what's that?
You're not wrong.
And it's like doing those little things for yourself and noticing, oh, I chose that coffee cup because it makes me feel good. Or I chose to take a walk because I'm honoring myself. Or I chose to eat this delicious meal and love every single bite of it. And I love food. And I love, just like really enhancing
Mm,
every experience in a way that it's a magical experience because really it is.
I love
We all woke up today, we all get to breathe, we all, we're all here still, and we only have today. So, yeah, it's enjoying the journey for me, which I didn't do for a very long time, period of my life. And it feels much better to step into that. And it's
amazing.
not perfect. Like, not every day is going to be butterflies and rainbows, but I think it's the awareness of the goodness of that journey that makes it that much better.
Perfect. Oh, I love that. And let's come to Nikki just before we round off. What do you think it's going to take to love what it takes?
I think it's just knowing that you're worth it. I think self-worth is such a huge thing. I think mindfulness is going to help pull you into that. I think when you're feeling imbalanced, asking yourself, so what? And not in a like you're angry mood or like, so what that you're late to pick up your kids from school, like they're safe, it's going to be fine. It's like really like bigger picture. You're not going to remember this day 5 years from now, right? 10 years from now, are you going to worry about this? It's going to be a problem you're having. But it's bringing into the now of what matters right in this moment. And that just comes down to love, right? Who do
Oh,
you love in this moment? How are you showing that love? How are you receiving their love and enjoying the now?
oh, I love that. That's amazing. And I was actually thinking driving in the car this morning, actually, because I knew we were going to be talking about this today. Um, when I get to the end of my days, which hopefully will be many, many years from now, I want to look back and go, what did love mean to me? How did I love? How was I loved? What actually mattered? And how did I kind of show up for those things? And so I think that's beautiful. Thank you, Nikki. That's really, really lovely. Really lovely. So we're about half past. We're about on time, which I think is quite a miracle given that I'm running this thing. Thank you so much, everybody. Has anybody else got anything that you want to chuck in at the end about kind of their concept of loving ourselves through this whole? I use the word journey advisedly, but it is a journey. It's a pathway. So, any final thoughts before we kind of close this off for today about what we need to do right now? Emily, I know that you're going to have one.
Yeah.
So, we're going to come to you to finish.
I think the biggest thing that I encourage people to do is to get curious about your body, what it's telling you, what the little cues are, what the how you're reacting to things as well, because everything you do is giving you some information. So if you, I don't know, somebody gives you a compliment and you feel horrified at it, be curious about that. Don't dismiss yourself as being, oh, I must be a bad person because I can't take a compliment. No, no, no. Just like, I wonder why that made me feel so uneasy. Huh. Or if you're drawn to a specific thing to eat, and it's something that isn't officially on the healthy list or whatever. Okay, what's going on that makes me feel today that I need to dive into a massive bowl of cookies because what's happened? So get curious. It doesn't need to be about beating yourself up, about hating yourself or anything. It's just about going, that's interesting. Oh, that person said something really quite nasty to me, and that's my response to that. Okay, that's interesting. And just be curious about it. And that can be, really focused curiosity. So like tracking your cycle, tracking your symptoms, all the stuff I talk about all the time. Or it can be much broader and just going, that just felt off. And I'm just gonna sit with that and see what that's telling me.
Lovely. So taking that time to sit and listen with that kind of curiosity about what's actually going on for you, having that, giving yourself that time,
showing yourself that you trust yourself.
Yeah.
But sometimes the immediate body response, the brain hasn't quite caught up. So if you give yourself the curiosity, the space to be curious and go, oh, is that why that made me feel uneasy? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Noted. And then you can choose to carry on and do the thing, whatever it is that you were about to beat yourself up about doing. Once you've done the curiosity bit, you can go, yeah, no, I still want to eat all the cookies because that person made me feel really crap. And actually, that's what I need right now.
Yeah. But at least it's an active choice then, isn't it? And you're owning that. You've got the agency over it. Yeah, I love that. Okay, amazing. I just want to leave you with one really quick thing that I want to send out love-wise for everybody who's watching this and anybody who we touch as a result of this. And it's this one really, really quick thing that I just wanted to leave with you. And it's just one thing that I do, and you can do it with me if you want to. Take a hand and put it under one armpit. And then your other arm, hold yourself on your other arm like this. This instantly begins to make you feel safe. And then just take a breath. And I just want you to think to yourself, I'm a good person going through a tough time. And this is just a snapshot in time. And I approve of myself fully and completely right now, exactly as I am. And then just let it go and just see how you feel. Yay. Okay, thanks so much, everybody. We'll have another one next month. I don't know what the topic's going to be yet, but we'll announce it nearer the time, unless we already know. Did we decide?
I do. It's movement.
Oh, movement. Amazing. We're
So
doing
I think Molly's going to be on that one.
Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, we'll see you for the next one. Thanks so much, everybody, for being part of this, for sharing your views on love. And yeah, you're just so wonderful. You know I love you all. So well done. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to stop recording now, unless Emily, you want to. I think you might have to.